Well, Razorback fans, the Razorback football team got a new commitment yesterday, and it looks like they could be having a lot more on the way. So, hey, let's go ahead and talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. Hope everybody having a wonderful Tuesday. As a reminder, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more as playoffs wind down. The sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone, every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Hope everybody's having, again, a wonderful Tuesday. As I know, we're getting closer and closer to football season. It's amazing that fall camp starts next week. So looking to have some really exciting things to talk about with that and to get into some things, too, as well as some other announcements and other things that will be happening hopefully here very, very soon. But we'll talk some football, talk some basketball, and talk some baseball. So kind of hit the whole stride, the whole thing here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. But Arkansas was able to, with the football side of things and Sam Pittman, they were able to get another commitment out of the high school class of 2025. And in this particular case, they got Nigel Pringle. I mean, I love the name. I wonder how many Pringle jokes have been made to him. Probably a lot. But either way, he's from Houston Texans. He's of the North Shore High School, and he is a cornerback. And he is 6'2", 178 pounds. And he made his decision yesterday at 5 p.m., choosing Arkansas over Kansas, Arizona, Arizona State, Oregon, as well as others, as according to 247sports.com. And he was recruited by Darren Wilson, the cornerbacks coach, and Marcus Woodson, of course, the safeties coach, and he's the 17th verbal pledge for the 2025 class. And he also apparently was on a official visit back on June 14th, and that's really what got him to go to the SEC. Because if you look about it, his offers and the choices that he had into the mix, none of them were really other SEC schools. It's not to say that they were bad schools by any stretch, but he is a three-star player. He is the number 166 player out of the state of Texas, and again has a lot of size and skill sets that Arkansas was looking forward to having. And Pringle said, "What stood out to me was how there wasn't any separation among anybody. Like the offensive staff's correlation with the defensive staff, everybody was on one accord. It was really like I already had a family established and I wasn't even there yet. That made me look a lot at a school a lot different, and I had a much bigger image about it. When I met the players, that was probably the quickest I've ever talked to people. When I talked to the players, you would have thought I've already known those guys. They were great people, real humble dudes. I love the place already." End quote. So, yeah, nice little get for Arkansas. Nice little get. And, you know, it kind of goes back to the whole thing with Arkansas and recruiting in itself. Like Arkansas, let's be honest, folks, like Arkansas is a place that's always going to be pretty tough to have the players that you feel like will be able to get you to a national championship level. We all know that. And the way that I've always approached it, too, when it comes to players like this, is that you're going to have opportunities for growth. You're going to have opportunities to find diamonds in the rough, maybe guys that got overlooked, maybe guys that didn't have a whole lot of love, a whole lot of appreciation, and coming out of high school and everything. And maybe they could be one of those guys that develops into something. But, again, kind of the way that people just feel about the Razorback football team right now, and I'm talking about Razorback fans in general, it's just, it doesn't make anyone feel good. It doesn't make anybody feel like special or anything like that. I mean, I was looking at the rankings right now, and according to 247 Sports, Arkansas still has the 31st overall ranked recruiting class in 2025. You know, you only have one 4-star committed as of right now, and the one 4-star is a linebacker, Tavion Wallace, from Georgia. He was a huge pickup. And after that, the highest-ranked player you have is Grayson Wilson, the quarterback out of Conway. And then Kamari Williams, the wide receiver out of Florida, and Blake Cherry, the offensive tackle out of Oklahoma, and et cetera, et cetera. But it's funny how college football is ever-changing. We all know that. And it's amazing how much it's changed really in the past 2 to 3 years. But this is going to be a very fascinating thing. Because let's be honest, like the status of Sam Pittman, there's a reason why everyone is saying he's on the hottest of hot seats and has the most pressure of any coach in the SEC by far. Like, there's a reason why, because that's the position he's in right now. He is on the hot seat. And you've heard me talk about on this podcast too, where it wouldn't surprise me at all if even if he did good enough this year, even if he had a pretty solid season, I still hold the belief, and it's nothing that I've reported, it's nothing that I have sources from, and nothing that I've confirmed, anything like that. It's just a gut feeling that I think that he would retire after this year and, move on, kind of end on a better note than what last year was, give Razorback faithful at least something to build upon, and ride off into the sunset, a.k.a. ride down to Lake Hamilton, and still be a Razorback fan, still be rooting for the Hogs, still be coming to the games, still be friends with everybody. I truly believe that that's a realistic option. So all these players that are committing and all the coaches that are working through the recruiting and everything, that to me is going to be the fascinating thing to see what happens. Is it something like is a smooth transition where maybe they have things in place, and whenever Sam Pittman decides to resign, if that ends up happening, does it just kind of like, all right, well, I'm resigning here, and then we already got a coach in place, and it's a smooth transition, and that they keep continuity, do they keep a lot of the coaches on? Does Bobby Petrino stay on? Whatever it is, but recruiting, especially at the high school level, is important. I'm not saying it's not important, but it's not what's going to make Arkansas a great football program. Like, what is this is something that I talked about because I'm going to use this as kind of going on a rant, so bear with me, but I talked about this a lot with people down that SEC Media Days in dealing with how it's approached for a place like Arkansas. Like, what makes Arkansas fans kind of upset other than just losing? Yes, losing games is going to be the biggest factor, right? I mean, there's no brainer in that. But what has really been, I think, more so than anything, caused psychological harm to Razorback fans, more so than anything, is seeing other programs that they consider themselves to be on the same playing field, or at least on the same level as, having more success. And it's not even just in football, folks. Like, football is a big factor because, like, you see what Ole Miss has done in Lane, and Lane Kiffin's a phenomenal coach. It's not Ole Miss, it's Lane Kiffin. Like, let's just be clear. But you see what they've done where, past 3 seasons, Lane Kiffin went 10-2, 8-4, 10-2, respectively. And then you've even seen like a team like Missouri where they had one good year. The rest of them were losing seasons, but they had a good year last year. And so when you couple that with Arkansas losing games, it makes it even exponentially worse. You could say the same thing in baseball, as we all know. Like, seeing Razorback baseball struggle, or, struggle in the way of still winning the SEC West. But you know what I mean? Like, struggling into getting to the World Series and winning it, but yet every other SEC team seems to be winning one, especially the programs that are considered to be lesser programs, what Arkansas is. Seeing them win titles, it just kills you inside. And basketball's been great under Muss, and it's going to be great under Cal, but then seeing a team like Alabama that just found out they had a basketball program about 5 minutes ago, seeing them go to a Final Four when you know that you're a better basketball program than them, it frustrates you. And that's what's really fueled the Razorback just down. I mean, I don't even know how to put it. The pessimism, if you want to say, like right now, the only sport, folks, that people feel good about right now is basketball. And the only reason they do is because John Calipari is your head freaking coach. Like, if you had somebody else, depending on who it was, if you had a Chris Beard, there'd probably be a lot of excitement there too. But if you ended up with the Jerome Tang or whoever was there in the mix, like I'm telling you, Razorback fans, I think, would be, you'd be worried about them. Be worried about a lot of them. Because it's the losing coupled with the other teams having success that really just gets you. And it just bothers you. And you get tired of it. And so that's why it is such a pain right now. Because anytime I bring up football, people are just discounting it. Even baseball, people are just frustrated. And as crazy as that is, considering how good Arkansas baseball has been in the regular season. But that's the thing, is that you don't get your success, you don't have your love, you don't have your approval rating done through the regular season. It's all done through what you do in the postseason. It's always been that way, and it's always going to be that way. And football is that same way right now. Seeing these, it's bad enough that you went 4-8 last year, Well, what makes it worse is when you see programs like Ole Miss, a program like Missouri, that just you feel like you're at least on the same playing field, if not better than them as a program as far as your amenities and your abilities and what you have. And you see them being able to figure it out and surpass you a little bit. And you want to pull your hair out. It's like, what is it going to take? What is it? Is it just the NIL? Is it is the football gods just not very happy with Arkansas fans? Like, what is it? It just starts to frustrate people. And I get it. You keep wondering at what point in time is it going to be your turn? Who knows? Maybe this year it actually turns around. Like, maybe this year actually shows up a lot of people and shuts up a lot of people about Arkansas. Like, I mean, they were picked to finish 14th. We talked about it yesterday. They were picked to finish 14th in the SEC, and I think that's fair. I mean, I picked them to finish higher, but if someone told me, he's like, hey, I picked Arkansas to finish 14th, I'm not going to be like, oh, you're an idiot. It's like, no, I totally get it. I totally get it. I totally understand it, and I'm not going to have any disagreements with it. It's just you got to show it now. And that's what Razorback fans are right now. They're in the entire – they're looking back in the entire thing. I'm just saying, all right, we're tired of the hype. We're tired of the offseason, winning the press conferences, whatever it is. We're tired of it. We want to see actual results. And until that happens, fans are just going to be pessimistic as it is. I was even thinking, like, when they're talking about the basketball side, if Eric Musselman, who I love Muss, we all love Muss, but like if Eric Musselman was the head coach still at Arkansas, I don't think anybody would be pumped about next season considering all the crap that happened this past year. I mean, it'd be still some excitement, but it'd be like, man, what happened? What if this happens again? Like, we're not going to listen to all the recruiting transfer portal guys that are so great. Like, what if it happens again? We're out. So there's just a lot of things that could go bad. It looks like it's really bad for Arkansas, but it'll be okay. The recruiting side of things doesn't matter. Don't care about recruiting rankings. Don't care about players coming in. Don't look at that. The only thing you need to look at as Razorback fans is dubs. Dubs. Don't take anything else. Just winning. Win on the field. And then you can buy in. And then you can feel good about it. But until then, let it ride and just see where it takes you. All right, Razorback fans, this is the Locked On Razorbacks podcast, and we'll continue it on here, talking a little basketball here in just a moment. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much that I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get to fewer games, and the sports just aren't sportsing them like we're wanting them to. But luckily, FanDuel helps me and lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up any bets at any time whenever I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone, every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. It's FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. A little basketball. How about some positivity for you folks out there? I always love to see just how things go in basketball right now. Like, they haven't had any games. We don't even know what the schedule is. I mean, we have a few games here and there, but we don't know what the SEC schedule looks like. We don't know, a lot of elements to it. But I'm begging. I'm loving it. I have notifications turned on Twitter for whenever the Razorback basketball Twitter account officially tweets something or John Calipari tweets something. I just can't get enough of it. And I'm appreciative. I'm extremely appreciative of how they give a little tease. They tickle them a little bit. You know what I'm saying? They give you a little something just to get excited when you think like it's all purgatory right now where nothing's really going on. And they throw something out for you, and it really gets you pumped up. And that's kind of what they did here yesterday. Just a little clip that the official Razorback basketball Twitter account put up. But it's about John L. Davis. It's Nelly Davis. And put up a few highlights of him and practices and what to expect. So here, just take a view of it, and then we'll kind of react to it. I mean, how can you not be romantic about that? How can that not get you pumped up and excited more so than anything? I mean, that is Just stuff like that. It goes so long. And first off, I love like in the very first clip of it where you hear pass, and then Nelly shoots it and makes it, and then goes over to Cal. He's like, oh, yeah, I say pass. And when I pass and then you shoot it, you didn't get to hear what the rest of the comment was, but I'm sure it was something very coachable towards Nelly Davis. But, like, I just it's amazing to me how the reaction, it goes back to what we just talked about in the previous segment. Nobody's really feeling great about football, or at least I keep saying that, and I don't think it's fair to say it to just everybody, but it's just in general speaking. Like, it's not an exciting thing right now. Like, when I went to SEC Media Days, there were some things we could take away from. Like, I just posted the interview I had with Laura Rutledge, on social media, and she was great and she was awesome and talking about it. But just there's not the level of excitement that maybe most people have. But then when something like that gets posted and the videos get posted and the highlights and whatever it is, people lose their mind. And it's the hype is real. The excitement is real. And it's just so funny to me how, like, basketball, where it's at now. I was alive during the 90s. Yeah, I know. I'm that old. But I was alive during the 90s. I was cognizant, at least, of the success. In fact, I was talking to my brother about this the other day. I remember when it was the national championship game in 1994. We watched it at my house, my family, and we had some family friends that came over to watch the game from our house. And the adults, the parents, basically, in a way, in an attempt to make us not be bothering them, I remember they rented from Blockbuster the newest game for the Sega Genesis called Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So I remember at least that. I don't remember the coolest parts about that night, but I do remember the Sonic the Hedgehog part because obviously that was the coolest thing for me. But still, it's like I love that stuff, and I love the fact that the excitement was so high and almost wish that I was old enough to appreciate it a little bit more and to be able to see it and be able to have that emotion that everybody else had during that time. But now, I'm not saying that the emotion's the same because you haven't won a national championship. You haven't gone to a Final Four. Like, you haven't done anything. But as far as the looking forward to the season and the excitement level of the upcoming season and the direction of the program and your placement of where everything's at, I'd be hard-pressed to find another time that people have not been so excited since that point in time. I'd even take it one step further. In any sport, I think that the Bobby Petrino deal, like, I think the 2010 season heading into that year, there was next level crazy excitement. But that would be about it in football. Because even in the year of 2007, when he had Darren McFadden returning after his Heisman Trophy runner-up, there was a lot of excitement, but there was all that drama surrounding it, so it kind of took away from it. And those were the only times in football I can even remember something like that. And then you throw in, basketball, again, for sure hasn't had it since the 90s. I mean, people were always excited about Muss, don't get me wrong, but there was always just a thing about Muss. And this was a great thing, so don't get me wrong. Like, don't take it the wrong way. But there's just something about Muss where it's like, okay, well, the regular season, we'll see how it goes, but really it's about the postseason. As long as we get into the tournament, even if we're an 8 seed or whatever, just as long as we get in there, we'll be all right. And it was great. Like, that's I'd rather have that than the opposite. But I'm just saying that there was kind of that, there was a level of excitement, but it was more the excitement of like, okay, but we'll see. We'll see. But basketball, it's just that you can't get enough. Nobody can get enough basketball. Not enough highlights, not enough anything. Just so much greatness. And that keeps happening in basketball. Hopefully it keeps up with Cal. Keep those videos coming, Razorback Twitter. Like, give us those highlights and let us keep seeing those. Those are great. So let's keep having those either way. But still, can't wait. Can't wait till the schedule comes out. Hopefully it comes out here soon. I just want to know what Arkansas is dealing with, and that'll be one of the most fun parts about it too. We'll talk about baseball here on the other side of the break, so stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. A little baseball update. We talked about Kendall Diggs, and at least I think we did on this podcast. I'm pretty sure we did. But, Kendall Diggs was a player that struggled this past year, and there's no way ifs, ands, buts about it. Like, he struggled at the plate this past season, and one of the reasons being is because he was hurt. He played hurt. And he announced about a week or so ago that he would be returning to the Razorback baseball team. which I felt like that was going to be the case, but it was really exciting to actually see it happen. It was really exciting to see him make that decision because I really wanted him back, to be honest. I know people at times got a little frustrated with his play, but we know what he's capable of. We've seen what he's capable of, and dealing with an injury like he had to deal with was, yeah, I mean, I just couldn't imagine. But anyways, yesterday he tweeted out that the picture of him in his like post-surgery, I guess. But he tweeted out, said, surgery went great. A huge thank you to Dr. Meister and his team for their incredible care and time. Looking forward to starting the rehab process and getting back to work. Really appreciate all the thoughts and prayers throughout the process. WPS. Giving a little thumbs up. So dealing with that injury, too, it's like sometimes you almost forget about how these players, first off, are still human, but also just how much they have to deal with the pain and how different it can be with a surgery. I still think, like with Peyton Stovall last year, which congratulations to him. He just signed. In fact, I saw Hagen Smith sign for $8 million. Dude, congraties. That guy was at our tailgate last year, and he's over here getting $8 million. But him, Stovall signing, congratulations to him, too. Everybody that's been signing, it's an awesome thing. But, to just go through that process of trying to rehab and get back, and speaking of Stovall, it's like he last year dealt with that weird broken foot injury that he had at the beginning of the season. But, I mean, the guy was hitting 350. He was so much better after he had the surgery from the previous year. And it has always felt like that for Razorback athletics, but especially Razorback baseball, is like whenever you have players that actually have the surgery and actually go through that process and actually come out and end up being even better than what they were, like, it's always a great story. And I think that that's what we can expect out of Kendall Diggs. I really hope so, man. Like, Kendall Diggs is a great dude and a great leader, and he's shown so many great qualities and great things that's happened. But he's got to get healthy. And when he's healthy, he's as good as anybody in the country. And I'm glad he's coming back. I'm glad he had the surgery. Glad it went well. And I know people are still just going to be in wait-and-see mode on baseball too. But that'll be here before you know it. And it'll be, hopefully, a fun year, an exciting year, and something that Arkansas can actually get into postseason once again, because I'm sick and tired of everybody else winning. It sucks. I'm done with it. I'm sick of it. So stop doing that. Appreciate everybody listening in to Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. We'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.